Ahem. Hello. Hi everyone. Welcome to the second to last day of Amanda's Spring Break Streaming Spectacular. I'm your host, Amanda. How is the sound? I'm talking a little quiet. I've got some spooky lo-fi. I want to make sure you can hear the music. We're keeping things on the quiet. We're keeping things on the down low. Nice and spooky. Yet a little chilled out. Can you guys hear the music? It's a little loud for me, but I can never tell. So y'all gotta tell me. Spooky, scary, spooky, scary. Today we're reading SCPs. I love SCPs, they're really cool. And if you have any favorite SCPs, I would love for you to tell them to me. I would love for you to tell me your SCP of choice. But I'm planning to hit random. Until then. Can you hear the music? Give me one sec. Alright, I've tested things out. Sounds like you can hear the music, right? You can hear it? Alright. Then let's get it started with some SCPs. It's pretty quiet. Alright, let me turn it up. How's that? How's that for y'all? For y'all out there in radio land. I'm coming to you with my radio voice. Alright, very nice, very nice. Very nice, very nice. Random SCP. Here we've got SCP-681. Object class Euclid? Oh, I already don't know how to read today. Special containment procedures. Can y'all see my enormous mouse? SCP-681 is to be contained in a row of standard pressure tanks rated to contain helium gas. All tanks are to be chained to the floor walls of the containment room. The containment room is to be kept airtight and at near vacuum pressures, with 2 level 1 staff assigned to check for tank leakage once a week. Checks are to be made in pressure suits, and none of the gas is to be removed without clearance from level 2 personnel. In the event of a minor leakage into the storage chamber, the room is to be temporarily flooded with normal air to force SCP-681 into collection traps in the ceiling. Do I have desktop audio turned down on OBS? I really don't. It's almost as high as my microphone is. I think I just have pretty bad hearing in general. I think I'm just really bad at gauging how loud things are. Should a very large leak occur, or should SCP-681 breach the containment room, nearby personnel are to be supplied oxygen masks immediately, and the bubbles of SCP-681 forming around them are to be siphoned off. SCP-681 can be safely placed in latex balloons without the usual concern of leakage, but no more than 3 average balloons worth of SCP-681 are to be removed from the containment room at any time. discovered in a warehouse under investigation for several cases of reported death by suffocation. SCP-681 is roughly 200 155 centimeter canisters of helium gas with unusual properties. In the event of leakage in the vicinity of brainwave producing subjects, it will move towards the subject, and fill airways and sinus cavities with helium gas. In enough volume, this can lead to death via suffocation. While still in the 155 centimeter storage canisters, it retains some of the capacity to exert mobility, hampered by the weight of the metal container. In lighter containers, such as the few 60 centimeter party-sized ones collected with the main batch, SCP-681 can exert enough force to deliver a head concussion. The range of the effect is roughly 30 meters, but this is highly variable. If placed in a balloon, it will simply drift towards any thinking organisms nearby and repeatedly bump against them. Excuse me, sorry. I just had some boba tea. However, balloon animals, will become slightly animate and act hostile, though still largely ineffective due to being simple latex balloon animals. SCP-681 will, through unknown means, migrate into nearby balloons if it breaches containment. After all this time, someone just now thought to check the serial numbers on the canisters and discovered we're missing over redacted of them. Do you people have any idea how much gas there is in one of those? Dr. Redacted. Very spooky. This one's spooky to me. I kind of have a fear of like gas-related injury or, I don't know, death. For a long time I worked at one of those ice cream places that makes ice cream with liquid nitrogen. So we had these huge nitrogen tanks, and I don't know, I feel like that stuff could be pretty dangerous. You could get chemical burns, and if too much of it is in the air, it's bad. And I worked there for about 6 months, never knowing that we were supposed to be checking how much nitrogen to oxygen level was in the air. And we didn't have a device to check that until after I've been working there for many months. So, yeah, and gas canisters, those things can be pretty intense, They're really highly pressurized. My manager, when you would open them up, would make this crazy noise, and that stuff can really hurt someone, I feel like that place was not fully equipped for the amount of highly pressurized liquid nitrogen that the handful of teenagers working there were allowed to handle. Yeah, that stuff can hurt you. I definitely have some chemical burns from that job. It was still very, honestly, I'm making it sound way bad, but you gotta be careful. But it was a good job. I like that job. What's that? Oh, this song has words in it. Is it distracting? One second. I'm gonna click to the next song on this lo-fi thing. Perfect. Yeah, scary balloons. That was SCP-681. I'm not doing this one, sorry. I just want straightforward SCPs. Alright. Here is SCP-1292, which is also a Euclid, Lucid. One second. Euclid. According to Google, it's Euclid. Hey Ripperjack, what's up? Welcome to Horb Radio. Euclid, that's how you say this word. SCP-1292. Special Containment Procedures. All machines found affected by SCP-1292 are to be dismantled and incinerated, with the exceptions of SCP-1292-3, SCP-1292-7, and SCP-1292-9, which are to be kept in Containment Locker 2039 at Site-24. If an outbreak of SCP-1292 is to occur in a civilian area, Protocol Meta-F is to be followed. Usage of SCP-1292 instances to grade copies of SCP-2496 is forbidden. Alright, here's the description. SCP-1292 is an electronic fault spread between Scantron brand multiple choice scanning devices. Man, I knew Scantrons were fucking evil. While the route of transfer is unknown at this time, the fault has been found to spread between scanners connected on the same network, electrical circuit, or directly. It may also be spread between machines which are kept within 30 meters of each other in an open space, regardless of being activated. This fault may take several weeks to affect the operations of the machine, making it difficult to quarantine. Once affected, this machine will take an abnormally long amount of time in marking a multiple choice sheet and may have one or several effects while marking. 1 in 4 or 5 questions will be marked incorrect, seemingly randomly. The machine will only read dots filled in with a number 3 HB pencil. Specific dots will be marked incorrectly in order to spell out words such as cab, bad, and bed. Every answer will be marked incorrect. Specific dots will be marked incorrectly in order to create diagonal or vertical lines if the dots were to be filled. The test may remain unmarked. SCP-1292 is uncurable regardless of reset of the machine. Due to SCP-1292's latency period, researchers are unsure if it has been quarantined. Here's the appendum. SCP-1292, a Scantron brand machine with a digital display, was tested. The following was displayed while the machine was marking. Sigh. Man, I didn't study the answers to this. Did we even learn this? So bored. I don't even care. I'll just bomb this and go play COD. This one's the scariest of all. It's a Scantron that fucks you up no matter what. And it's possessed by a gamer. It's possessed by a Call of Duty gamer. The scariest of all SCPs. Alright. Here's SCP-3435. Object Class, Safe. Turn the music down a little. SCP-3435 is to be contained in an opaque, airtight case equipped with a desiccator to preserve it. The image of SCP-3435 is not to be distributed outside of approved personnel and test subjects. Personnel must be screened before assignment to SCP-3435. Those with backgrounds in politics or art criticism are automatically prohibited from viewing SCP-3435 or images of SCP-3435. MTF Epsilon 23 Art Critics is to monitor art galleries in Clark County for sightings of POI 0171 Guillermo Gutierrez or his works. Under no circumstances are any personnel to be assigned to both SCP-3435 and SCP-2078 at the same time. Alright, description. SCP-3435 is an oil painting by known anarchist Guillermo Gutierrez, titled Dream a Better Dream. Oh, this is a link. And look at the image. I don't know what this is. This is not an image. Measuring 110 centimeters by 68 centimeters. SCP-3435 depicts two entities, a blue theropod dinosaur with cybernetic attachments and various laser weapons reminiscent of those in science fiction, and a red European-style wyvern dressed in a pointed hat and colorful robe, holding a staff and what appears to be a spellbook. Repeated sightings of SCP-3435 often show changes in the relative positions of the entities, while the majority of viewings appear to show the two entities physically fighting. The background of the painting also varies widely between different viewings, even when viewed multiple times by the same person. SCP-3435 exerts a primary anomalous effect on the dreams of any individual who views it, or a photograph of it. In 87% of cases, the viewer's dreams will sporadically involve the entities depicted in the painting. Reports indicate that the dream entities, designated SCP-3435-1, will attempt to communicate with the dreamer. SCP-3435-1 will cease to appear in dreams after a varying period of time from viewing of SCP-3435. The length of this period has been between 1 and 8 nights. Use of amnestics to remove the memory of viewing SCP-3435 successfully ends the presence of SCP-3435-1 in dreams. A common theme in dreams involving SCP-3435 is elements from the dreamer's childhood. If the viewer perceives SCP-3435 as being representative of socio-political issue or conflict, the viewer will experience migraines of various severity. If the viewer writes down or speaks about their interpretation of SCP-3435, they will experience further side effects, including stomach cramps, diarrhea, hemorrhoids, or constipation. It gives you stomach issues. Spooky. Dinosaur painting that gives you diarrhea. Chemical analysis of SCP-3435 have revealed several previously uncharacterized compounds in the paint, thought to be responsible for the colors. Testing is ongoing, but so far analysis has not shown them to possess any perception-altering properties. Here's the appendum. SCP-3435 was first unveiled at the Contemporary Art Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. MTF Epsilon 23 first flagged it when they noticed the perception-based anomaly surrounding SCP-3435. SCP-3435 was confirmed anomalous when its effects manifested, causing several prominent art critics discussing the painting to simultaneously vomit and experience severe migraines. SCP-3435 was contained successfully, and amnestics in a cover story involved uncooked hors d'oeuvres were distributed. Addendum 3435-02, POI 0171 was apprehended during incident redacted 9F92 involving AWCY, SCP redacted, and SCP redacted. Mr. Gutierrez denied responsibility for the incident and insisted that he was not a member of AWCY. Interview Log 3435-02, requesting permission to conduct extended testing on SCP-3435, Dr. Maravilla. Denied. There is nothing more to be learned from it. In fact, your excessive involvement with this anomaly and the POI responsible already borders on the unprofessional. And if he hadn't already provided valuable intel on AWCY activity before vanishing, you'd be on the disciplinary watch list already. Remember what's really important here. Personnel Director Acosta. This one's funny. It's a painting of a laser dinosaur that gives you diarrhea and nightmares. Very spooky. Nothing scarier than a dinosaur painting that gives you diarrhea. Do you guys like the music, or would you rather I play like white noise? It's kind of, I think it has too many words, it's kind of distracting me. One sec, I'm gonna find some noise. Is that spooky? I'm a really big fan of white noise. I like to listen to it. How's that? White noise. It's actually pink noise. I don't really know what the difference is. I think it's a little less harsh. Alright, here's another random SCP. Alright, here's SCP-5167, Object Class Keter, or maybe it's Keter. Special Containment Procedures. Foundation web crawlers are to monitor online communities. Oh, this is an internet SCP, the scariest kind. Foundation web crawlers are to monitor online communities for mentions of potential SCP-5167 sightings. In cases where these sightings are confirmed, all direct witnesses are to be apprehended and all secondary evidence removed from the platform in question. Apprehended witnesses are to be held until symptoms of SCP-5167 abate and are then to be amnesticized and released under a standard mental breakdown cover story. Oh hell no, they had a mental shutdown. Me too. Description. Oh no. SCP-5167 is an entity known to manifest as a player of the online multiplayer game Among Us under the username of Pathonis. Among Us SCP, Among Us SCP, Among Us SCP. Oh no, it's the sus. The sus. Among Us. This is very spooky, scary indeed. I'm terrified of Among Us. SCP-5167. Oh, chat went wild. SCP-5167 will randomly join multiplayer lobbies of the game and participate as an ordinary player would, with the majority of its anomalous effects only becoming obvious following the initial encounter. During this initial encounter, SCP-5167 has been observed to communicate using the in-game chat function, although the majority of its speech consists of lengthy diatribes produced at little prompting from other players. It's very sus. Individuals who interact with SCP-5167 in-game will subsequently begin to exhibit symptoms of paranoia and Capgras delusion. The severity of these symptoms varies from person to person, but in initial cases was significant enough to prompt acts of perceived self-defense from those affected. These symptoms persist for a period initially believed to encompass several months, but has lessened to 1 or 2 weeks as observation has continued. It's an SCP that makes you sus. SCP-5167 was initially discovered by the Foundation after a period during which the player Pathonis was a minor urban legend in the Among Us community. Although interest in the figure died down fairly quickly, Foundation web crawlers flagged recorded accounts of multiplayer encounters with the entity as potential anomalous phenomena. Learning Computer Sci-2 Melville was assigned to track sessions of the game until SCP-5167 was encountered, and then the other players in the session were tracked down. They exhibited the symptoms now associated with SCP-5167. Foundation efforts to track the individual behind SCP-5167 have thus far proven unsuccessful. All attempts to locate the internet access point used by the anomaly have led to deserted home addresses in rural Greece. Is this real? Like, was this a real urban legend? No, wait. Oh my god. What is this? Oh, it's a drawing. Maybe it was real. Not even half an hour in, and there's already an Among Us SCP. So true. There's more. Analysis of SCP-5167 neutralization. As requested by head researcher Abrams, I've had the Site-22 analysts look into the progress of SCP-5167's anomalous effects over the periods we've observed it, and the results are much as I expected. When we first discovered SCP-5167, for the sake of argument, let's say this is when SCP-5167 first came into existence. The impact it had on its victims was severe. I don't think I have to remind you of what Billy Heth did to his family's faces. But since then, almost immediately really, since the first couple of manifestations, the potency of its effects has started to decline. Full detachment from reality became delusion, and delusion has now become paranoia, and the intensity of that paranoia is lessening in each new case. This is all conjecture, of course, and shouldn't be taken as gospel, but based on what we've observed of this anomaly thus far, our estimation is that SCP-5167's anomalous effects will become inert by the end of the year. Whether it'll keep popping up in this video game matches in another story, though. Site-22 Intelligence Director Michelle Ross. Observation Log 5167-1. The following is a log of SCP-5167 as observed by Learning Computer Psi-2 in a game of Among Us. SCP-5167 participated in the game without communicating until specifically addressed by other players. Following the game, all participating players were tracked down and treated as containment procedures dictate. Begin log. John Arbuckle. Read. What were you doing in reactor? SCP-5167. Where was I? I was there when the mountains were newborn and the oceans virginal. I was there when gods walked among men, and their wisdom was cast down like sunlight. I was there when mankind was capable of legends. And now, I find myself in a world that has forgotten even the taste of life, even the very concept of life beyond existing from one day to the next, mere continuance, where all the world is wasted away in idle play of emotions that once reigned true. I am in a world where even the gods are forgotten, their bones washed away by time, a world where man has moved on, where all the legacy I have left are 3 fucking sentences on Wikipedia. I thought my time had come again. I thought this could be the new me, but this is nothing. Let me stay dead this time. I'm tired. No activity for 12 seconds. Your mom, red is sus. XG 1200. Yeah, vote red. End log. Footnotes. A psychiatric disorder in which individuals come to believe that they've been replaced by identical imposters. Full record of recorded SCP-5167 related homicides available in the Site-22 archives. This is the best one by far. Wait, can we read the comments? Sussy muggus. I love this one. This one's a 10 out of 10. SCP-5167. Excellent. Mark it down. Write it down. Sussy. I should have got more water than I have. What do you guys think of the soft voices this ASMR? I usually yell a lot more. And I cackle my loud, annoying laugh. Alright, here we have SCP-691. Nice. Very nice. Object Class Euclid reclassification to safe pending confirmation from Foundation Intelligence that redacted. Special containment procedures. One instance of SCP-691, SCP-691-0, is to be stored in a safety deposit box within the Foundation archives at Site Redacted. Any other instances are to be destroyed following confirmation that they are identical to SCP-6910. Access is restricted to Dr. Redacted and her research assistants. Following incident, SCP-691-T1, or is that I1, second-hand recordings of SCP-691 are prohibited unless permission is granted from a member of staff with Level 5 clearance. Please see investigation logs for details of standard experimental procedure with respect to any instance of SCP-691. There are currently 15 identical cases of SCP-691 that are or have been under... Oh god, I lost my place. There have been under Foundation control. SCP-691 is a plain blue cassette tape on which is printed Pure Escapism Limited Edition, one of only 250. One side of the tape contains a short foreword by an unknown male introducing a piece of music. See Appendum SCP-691-A1 for further details. On the opposite side, Aquarela do Brasil, using S.K. Russell's English lyrics, can be heard. This particular version is played by a modern symphony orchestra with an unidentified lyric tenor providing the vocals. It should be noted that the foreword will always be played first, regardless of which side of the tape is entered into a player, and both pieces will always be played from the beginning. The foreword is harmless and has yet to be linked to any effects of SCP-691, aside from encouraging the listener to turn the tape over. Subjects listening to the musical piece have reported visual, auditory, and tactile hallucinations, along with a sense of relaxation and well-being. However, it is unclear whether this is due to the nature of the hallucinations or if it is one of the tape's cognitive effects. Hallucinations have always been described as benign, but listeners have not been cited as a direct cause of any psychological trauma. Even though hallucinations may vary, they have shown some consistency for repeat listeners. Subjects allowed free access to SCP-691 will eventually become capable of doing little more than listening to the tape repeatedly. In several extreme cases, foregoing food and drink to do so. Regular listeners who are denied access will not show traditional withdrawal symptoms. Instead, they will show difficulty in acknowledging visual and oral stimuli. In a few cases, subjects have either refused to or been unable to acknowledge any external stimulus. Appendum SCP-691-A1, transcript of SCP-691's foreword. Hi there. If you're listening to this, then I can assume that life has got the better of you. Things didn't work out the way you wanted them to, did they? Sometimes it's bad luck. Sometimes you're the cause of your own ruin. Or maybe it's just that you're going nowhere. I'm not one to judge. Everybody has regrets. It's perfectly normal. You don't have to lie to yourself. But I'm digressing, so I'll get to the point. I've got some good news for you, sir or madam. I can offer you a way out. Oh, no. It's not suicide. You and I both know you don't have the stomach for that unpleasantness. I'm offering you something so much better. Besides, all you have to do is flip this tape over, close your eyes, and relax. Think of somewhere nice. Think of the good times. Think of those things you always wanted to do. Now I promise that I can give you these. Now I can't promise that I can give you these, but what I can promise is this. On the other side of this tape, you will find an escape from your own personal train wreck. Enjoy. Appendum SCP-691-A2. All further study on SCP-691 is to be focused on identifying traits associated with its use as per Dr. Redacted's instructions. A request has also been made to study the effects of secondhand recordings of SCP-6910 at various volumes, approval pending. Foundation Intelligence and a detachment of MTF Alpha-2 are working to identify and retrieve any other instances of SCP-691 that may be available to general public. Alright guys, so I'm going to put the taking a break screen and run to the restroom. But this one was kind of sad, right? Damn, I felt that though. Okay, I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. This has been Horror Radio. Don't touch that dial. Don't touch it. Do you guys like my extremely ugly back soon screen? I literally made it a second before I started this stream because I had like an inkling I would have to go to the bathroom. I just felt it in my body. I don't know. Okay. Welcome back to Orb Radio. Alright, here we have SCP-739, Object Class Euclid, Special Containment Procedures. SCP-739 is to be kept in a well-lit room with its door wedged open at all times. Under no circumstances are any personnel with personality characteristics of grandiosity, psychopathy, or sociopathy, or solipsism to be assigned to SCP-739. If no such personnel are available, the use of mental alterations to produce such personnel is authorized. When testing is not being conducted, 2 D-Class personnel must be present in the room and rotated every 3 hours. One is to be positioned within SCP-739 while the second stands immediately in front of the first, and is to ensure that the first D-Class does not close the door. No testing with SCP-739 is to occur without prior approval from the project director. Any subjects that show signs of hostility after emerging from SCP-739 are to be terminated immediately. Description: SCP-739 is a booth constructed of a lacquered oak measuring 91 centimeters by 91 centimeters at its base, 210 centimeters in height, and 87 centimeters by 91 centimeters at its apex. The object is in the shape of a symmetrical trapezoidal prism. The 2 inward-leaning walls inside of the object each have a mirror affixed to them, which face one another and emit a set of climbing reflections, giving the illusion of meeting overhead. The back wall door on the booth are both featureless and unremarkable. Any visual recordings of the interior of SCP-739 will not record the reflections of the mirrors within. All such recordings show the mirrors as a uniform black coloration, indicating a complete absence of recorded light. Faint whispers can be heard emanating from an indeterminate point within the object. However, individual phrases or voices cannot be distinguished. If a subject or item is present within SCP-739 when the door is closed, said door will be impossible to open for a varying period of time, during which the booth shakes violently. After the shaking has ceased, the door can be reopened, and any objects placed but subjects within will have undergone a one-dimensional lateral inversion. I don't know what that means. Oh goodness. I lost my place. All asymmetrical aspects of the subject become reversed, including internal organs and asymmetrical molecules. This change occurs on the molecular levels, with L amino acids becoming D amino acids. Subjects capable of communication will claim that they are unaffected and will maintain the perspective that their surroundings are inverted instead. Exposing the subject to the anomalous effect of SCP-739 a second time will revert their lateral inversion. However, some subjects will report minor discrepancies in their environment afterwards. When questioned, subjects will be unable to identify any specific discrepancies, attributing it to an instinctive feeling. After being affected by SCP-739 several times, subjects will begin to display prominent physical and mental divergence from prior to testing. Physical characteristics that are considered undesirable to the test subject will gradually diminish until absent or replaced by favorable characteristics. Altered subjects are unaware of these changes and are insistent that no changes have occurred. Affected subjects will also progressively develop divergent memories of their history prior to exposure to SCP-739. These memories will become more prominent with each time the subject utilizes SCP-739, eventually resulting in a history that the subject will consider more favorable than their true history, however universally result in the subject being inducted to the Foundation's D-Class regimen for testing with SCP-739. Subjects who lose familiarity with the individuals who have become increasingly absent in these false memories and will claim familiarity with individuals they had never encountered. In most cases, these individuals are purely fictitious or are portrayed in a stereotyped manner. At the door of SCP-739 is closed without any subjects or objects present within, the item will initially function as though such was present. After unsealing, an entity of unknown physical appearance will emerge from SCP-739. These entities uniformly appear as a featureless dark blur on any visual recordings they are present on, and are cognitohazardous to observe in person. Personnel questioned prior to amnetization will state the entity is foreign or unknowable, frequently referring to it as something that doesn't exist. All such entities that have emerged from SCP-739 to date have utilized shockwave pulses in order to damage their immediate environment and injure or kill nearby personnel. See Experiment 739-23. Following the initiation of D-Class testing, SCP-739 will no longer recognize the presence of inanimate objects placed within when closed, functioning as though its interior was left empty. Appendum 1, Interview Log. Researcher redacted. Forward. D-53682 has been altered by SCP-739 multiple times in succession before the interview was conducted. Prior to the initiation of these experiments, D-53682 was a Caucasian male, 154 centimeters in height, weighed 65 kilograms, and had lost their left arm below the shoulder from an amputation. Following the conclusion of these tests, and during this interview, D-53682 was a Caucasian male, 203 centimeters in height, weighed 105 kilograms, and had regenerated their lost arm. Begin log. Researcher, please state your full name, followed by your designation. John Kate Ball, D-53682. Are you sure that's your name? What do you mean, am I sure? It's my name. I've had it since birth. Our records say that you, D-53682, are named Jesse Clarence Ball. Before testing began, you told us that was your name. No, my name is John Kate Ball. It's always been John Kate Ball, like I said before. Someone must be messing with your systems. You should get Cam to see if he can fix it. Cam? Yeah, Cameron. You know, the big text expert here, practically fooled by nacho chips. When did you meet Cameron? Man, it's been so long ago. I think we met in the cafeteria at Site 83. No way, we met in school, didn't we? Oh well, it doesn't matter. Can you tell me why you were incarcerated? Fraud and money laundering. Let me guess, I'm wrong again? Yes, you were guilty of 2 counts of second-degree murder. Yes, I'm fairly sure I remember killing someone, and I'd appreciate if you didn't suggest I had. Very well. Do you recall what happened inside SCP-739 when the door was closed? The booth thing, right? I sort of remember something foggy before the door opened up again. Continue. I was alone when I went in, right? I remember hearing voices when I stepped in. I don't think those things belong. What things? I'm not really sure, well, I suppose you could always go see for yourself. I think they'd be happy to see you. Oh god, this one keeps going. End log. Attempts to communicate with D-53682 and gather more information about SCP-739 and the changes the subject underwent are currently ongoing, but due to the subject's unwillingness to cooperate, the information gathered thus far has proven to be inconclusive. Any personnel cycled through SCP-739 are to be interviewed immediately unless they pose a direct threat to Foundation personnel, at which time traditional means of termination are authorized to be used at the discretion of the project director. Appendum 2, Incident Log. Experiment 739-23, date redacted. Procedure. SCP-739 was closed and open without any items or subjects being present within. Results. An entity of unknown origin emerged from SCP-739. Once the standard 10-second sealing state had concluded, the physical appearance of this entity, retrocausally designated SCP-1D, was concealed on all visual recordings of it, appearing as a darkened region on such. Personnel present in the testing chamber at the time displayed extreme discomfort at the appearance of the entity and attempted to avoid observation of it. SCP-1D showed an immediate awareness of Site-83's layout. The entity closed SCP-739 behind it, triggering a second sealing state. SCP-1D proceeded to breach containment by use of directed shockwave pulses in excess of 210 decibels to destroy impending barriers and kill any personnel it encountered. Primarily armed first-person containment teams, the entity displayed a focus on eliminating as many personnel as it was capable of, showing no acknowledgement of other objects or entities unless such impeded or attacked the entity to some capacity. Containment efforts were severely impeded due to the visually cognitohazardous appearance of SCP-1D. After 10 minutes, SCP-1D collapsed. An automated autopsy of the entity revealed that it was not suited to Terran environments and succumbed to an approximate analog of oxygen intoxication. It had suffered non-lethal injuries during its containment breach, apparently being capable of rapid regeneration while active. During the containment breach of SCP-1D, a similar entity, designated SCP-2, emerged from SCP-739 and immediately proceeded to escape from the perimeter of Site-83. It is unknown if SCP-2 is more adapted to Terran environments than SCP-1D, as the entity has not been observed since the initial breach. Appendum 3. Analysis of the auditory pulses SCP-1D to attack personnel have been discovered to be heavily distorted humanoid speech. Below is a transcript of several phrases stated by SCP-1D. Let me in. There is so much to do. We will enforce what your messengers taught us. We are ready to complete our work. Why do you ignore me? Will you look if we all scream together? We will earn your acknowledgement. Oh, this one was mega creepy. Alright, you guys. I think that might be it for today. Sorry this was a quickie, but I've got things to do after this. I have places to go. I have a thing to do. And also my throat kind of hurts. This was a lot of talking, and I need some more water. Sorry for the quickie, but I really wanted to get a stream in today because tomorrow is the last day of my spring break streaming spectacular. I really, really, really hope that you all come, okay? Because I'm making 2 really, really exciting announcements. So make sure you come tomorrow. Make sure you come tomorrow. It's gonna be awesome. Get hype. Please get hype. Alright. Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to do more kind of relaxed streams. This was nice. I know my voice is pretty high-pitched and loud and annoying, so it's nice to take it down a notch, take it down a few, just hang out. I love ASMR. Someday I would like to make some proper ASMR, but we'll see. And I love SCP, so this is a really fun stream. Alright, bye-bye guys. Get hyped for tomorrow. And try not to get sucked into any alternate mirror dimensions that alter your internal organs. Bye-bye.